rest in peace.
You can burn it, bury it, or seal it in a casket, but some legends aren't meant to stay gone. Their returns don't feel like comeback, they feel like resurrections. Moments where the arena goes still, the lights fade, and everyone senses something impossible is about to walk back into reality. And as we look back at the greatest returns from the dead in WWE history, there's no better place to begin than with a feud built on fire, betrayal, and a legend killer who thought he had the power to end a myth. Flames roared upward, consuming the wood and swallowing any hope of escape. Commentators shouted for help, fans reached out in panic, and the Ortons watched proudly as the flames danced across their masterpiece. It wasn't just a symbolic burial, this was murder, sold as a storyline performed in front of 14,000 witnesses who believed, for the first time, that this could truly be the end. The story begins in 2005, during one of the most heated rivalries of the Ruthless Aggression Era. Randy Orton had already earned a reputation as the legend killer, but in his eyes, eliminating legends wasn't symbolic enough. No, he wanted to end them violently, publicly, and with a level of finality the WWE had never seen. At no mercy, Orton and his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, trapped their rival inside a heavy black casket after a brutal match. But Randy didn't want people to wonder if the story would continue. He wanted the WWE Universe to watch him end The Undertaker's legacy right then and there. He splashed gasoline onto the casket as the audience gasped in disbelief, and with the kind of grin only a villain can wear, he struck a match and set the entire casket ablaze.
Man in there, enough with this. Enough! Oh, come on now, come on now! Oh my God!
But the WWE never lets darkness die quietly. At Survivor Series 2005, Randy Orton stood tall as the sole survivor, half broken but triumphant, believing he had finally outsmarted and outburned the supernatural force he hated.
I killed him! I killed the Undertaker!
The crowd was hot, the celebration was underway, and then everything went silent. The lights died, smoke crept across the stage, an upright casket appeared under a single spotlight like an omen. It shook violently, rattling as if something inside had clawed its way back to life. Flames burst from the cracks in the lid, lighting the casket in a hellish glow. Thunder cracked from the rafters, then boom, the door of the casket exploded off its hinges, and out stepped the man no fire could extinguish. Unburned, unscarred, unfinished.
Oh my God!
Randy Orton's face dropped as if he'd seen a ghost step directly out of the inferno he created. The Undertaker marched forward with smoke trailing behind him like a shadow reattached to its owner, and with that single step, the WWE Universe understood you can burn the legend, but you can't destroy the myth.
For the Ortons, this wasn't just a rivalry, it was a horror story they could never escape.
Not know what he's got me, man. He's messing with my mind.
The Buried Alive match of 1996 was one of the most chaotic spectacles the WWE ever hosted. Mankind, deranged and unstoppable, threw everything he had into this war. Steel step fists, concrete slabs of psychological torment. But what made this death unforgettable was the betrayal. Paul Bearer, the man who had stood by The Undertaker for years, turned on him at the most vulnerable moment. Betrayal opened the floodgates. Goldust, Triple H, Crush, and an entire army of heels joined in, each taking their turn shoveling dirt onto the motionless body in the grave. The mound grew taller, the crowd grew quieter. Eventually, the final shovel of dirt fell heavy, a symbolic burial that felt shockingly real. Fans stared at the grave in stunned silence, horrified by what they just witnessed. You can beat a man,
You can bloody him, but burying him alive, that felt like crossing a line even the WWE rarely touched. For a moment, the arena remained dead silent. Then lightning crashed from the sky, striking the mound of dirt with a blinding flash. The ground trembled as smoke curled upward from the earth. And then, in a moment forever etched into wrestling mythology, a single hand burst through the dirt, fingers clawing their way back to life like a horror movie monster refusing to stay buried. That visual sold millions of fans on the power of this character. It wasn't just a tease, it was a declaration. And weeks later, at Survivor Series, he returned fully, stepping into the arena with the posture of a man who knew exactly who he was and who he was coming for. He wasn't back to wrestle, he was back to punish. The hand from the grave wasn't just iconic, it was the birth of a myth the WWE Universe still talks about nearly 3 decades later, the Royal Rumble. 1994 casket match wasn't a fair fight, it was an execution. Yokozuna, enormous and unstoppable, couldn't finish the job alone, so he enlisted half the heel locker room to hold the lid shut. Literally, Bam Bam Bigelow, Jeff Jarrett, Adam Bomb. It felt like every villain with a pulse wanted to be part of this final act. They pushed the lid down, hammered it shut, and forced the casket to the floor. Smoke leaked
dragged from its edges, the arena fell into an eerie hush, and fans watched as the camera focused on the still image of a sealed casket that felt too heavy with finality. The crowd waited for something, anything, to break the tension, but for several long seconds nothing happened. The Undertaker was gone. Then the Titantron flickered. A ghostly image of him appeared inside the casket, eyes glowing, voice echoing like it was drifting through the arena from another realm entirely. He delivered a haunting message vowing that he would not rest in peace, and as he spoke, the casket filled with bright white light before the image ascended upward like a spirit leaving the body behind. Fans erupted. The WWE had gone full supernatural, and it worked. Months later, at SummerSlam, he returned physically to confront an imposter version of himself, the real versus the fake, the legend versus the counterfeit. It was bizarre, campy, dramatic, and absolutely unforgettable. And it proved one thing: you can trap the body, but you can't contain the myth. In 1998, Kane wasn't just a villain, he was a natural disaster in red spandex. During the casket match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, Kane stormed down the ramp, tore the casket open, and brutalized his brother with a terrifying mix of rage and ritual. He slammed the lid shut, locked it down, and dragged the casket to the stage like a man preparing to send a message written in flames. With the entire arena watching breathlessly, Kane doused the casket in gasoline and ignited it. A towering inferno consumed the box as WWE officials scrambled to put out the blaze, but when they finally pried the charred remains open, the body inside was gone. Not burned, not broken, just gone. It was the kind of disappearance that left audiences wondering whether they had witnessed a death or an evolution. Weeks later, Kane stood in the ring, proud of what he'd done, or at least what he thought he'd done. Then the lights flickered, the arena filled with thick smoke. A chilling gong echoed through the darkness like a heartbeat returning after being silent too long, and out of the fog, the Undertaker re-emerged, not limping, not weakened, but renewed. Kane's fire hadn't killed him, it had awakened him. The two stared at each other as the crowd erupted into chaos, and in that moment, the most supernatural sibling rivalry in WWE history hit its peak. Kane tried to burn the past. Instead, he resurrected his worst nightmare, Survivor Series. 2003 saw Vince McMahon do the unthinkable, enlist Kane to bury the dead man alive. After a brutal match, Kane attacked ruthlessly, grabbing the shovel and slamming dirt over the body with a feverish obsession. Vince watched, satisfied, as Kane finished the burial with a relentless frenzy that felt too real for comfort. Dirt poured in until the grave was filled, the mound rose and the bell rang. The dead man was gone, buried, defeated, erased. Weeks turned into months with no sign of him, no vignettes, no smoke, no clues, just eerie hints, gongs in the distance, and whispers that the dead man wasn't done yet. WrestleMania 20 delivered the resurrection fans had been waiting for. The arena plunged into darkness as a procession of druids marched toward the ring, their torches illuminating the stage in a ritualistic glow. Then Paul Bearer appeared,
leading them like a high priest preparing a rebirth ceremony. The gong struck, the lights flickered, and from the shadows emerged the Undertaker in full classic attire. Hat, coat, gloves, the aura of supernatural inevitability wrapped around him like a cloak. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a rebirth. The American Badass was dead, The Undertaker had risen, and the WWE Universe witnessed a resurrection that felt like the closing of one chapter and the explosive beginning of another.